to create a skeleton using Google Gemini Pro, and this will incorporate custom instructions that I've created using gems, which is essentially like a project file. You can give it basically commands, sort of like templates and such. So I've already instructed this particular session with the proper types of prompts that I want to use, so I don't have to keep doing it over and over. So all I have to do is basically trigger the image prompts, and it will understand what I was trying to do. And I'm trying to get consistency with art or with image generation. So without further ado, I'm going to ask it to create an undead skeleton soldier. So I'm going to say generate an undead skeleton soldier. I'll say warrior just in case, using mode 1. So mode 1 is essentially just a full body length image with a square canvas and white background. So we'll see what happens here. So it's loading Nano Banana 2, which is the module it uses to generate images. So Gemini is made up of a few different modules, and the image generation module is come a long ways. So that's a pretty good looking undead soldier. So now I want to make the virtual tabletop pog or token. So I'm going to say generate the virtual tabletop pog version of the subject above using mode 2. So it should know that I want it to just create a pog for this top image up above. And it understands what mode 1, 2, 3, and 4 are because I've instructed it and set it up. So let's see what we get here. I'm not going to worry about it at this point. So now what I'm going to do is ask it to generate the top-down view, or like the miniature view. So I'm going to say generate the top-down view using mode 3. So technically it should be looking basically straight down on top, in case you want to use like miniature like, and it already knows the instructions for that. Sometimes it gets it wrong, so it kind of depends on what the image is and which model. So that looks pretty good from a top-down view. Now I'm going to say generate a horrific splash art scene using mode 4. So mode 4 is like a full color, like a cover. So it knows that mode 4 is supposed to be a special cover. Wow, that's interesting. It actually took the image and tried to insert it. So I've never seen this before, so that's interesting. It looks like they're all worshiping him laying down. Let's try it again. This time, let's see if it actually does it properly. I'll say generate a horrific and cinematic scene with the subject splash art using mode 4. So we'll see if it understands that. But every once in a while it'll get this wrong. But usually 90% of the time it can do it without any problems. I think it's the wording. Like, I think I jumbled up the wording, and that does matter because it affects how it perceives what you're wanting to do. So let's see what happens there. Yeah, it's still kind of goofy because it's showing the top-down view, but it almost looks like he's climbing up a ladder, which is kind of cool, actually. So let's try a different one. So let's see. So I'll start another session. I'll say generate an undead skeleton archer using mode 1. So it should technically understand what I'm trying to say. Again, I'm using Google Gemini 3.1, the paid pro version. So that's not bad. And what it has is a white background so that you can remove the white background easy without having to try to fix it with an art program. And now let's try the POG. So generate the virtual tabletop POG version of the subject using mode 2. And it should make the POG version. We'll see. Hopefully it can handle it. Sometimes it won't work, but like I said, most of the time it will generate the proper image because I've already defined the parameters for it. So yeah, that looks pretty good. I can handle that. Now let's try the top-down view. So generate the top-down view using mode 3. Now hopefully it'll make like the token view. Sometimes it will make like a weird, like isometric view if it doesn't understand how to do it. Yeah, see, it doesn't always work, but usually it will. So let's try it again. So generate, I don't know why it switches, but sometimes it will. Generate the top-down view of the skeleton archer, and I'll say no base or ring, and I'll say follow the gem instructions. They've updated Nano Banana recently, so I might have to redefine it because it's been acting up lately, and I have a feeling it has something to do with it. So I might have to re-prompt or rechange the template that I'm using because it's getting it wrong more often. Before the update, it was doing it right almost every single time. So we'll see. So it will keep repeating. See, now it's getting really weird. Yeah, I believe that the update has ruined or broken this particular gem, so I might have to recreate it, but nonetheless I would say 90% of the time it'll get it right, but for some reason it's not able to handle that top-down view. I do like that though, like as a symbol I guess, but not for what I need it for. And let's try mode 4. So create, I'll say the splash art scene using mode 4. So we'll see what happens there. But I've been able to consistently make characters with 4 different scenes or poses and then use those later on if you need them for different assets. So if you're doing like some homebrew or something like that, it'll help with that. So yeah, so that looks pretty cool, although it didn't actually use the subject. So what it's doing is it's just kind of creating from the last image instead of the main image. So what I could do is upload this main image and use that as a guide. So I'm going to download the image the first image. I'm going to reprompt it, and then I'm going to include the image that I had created before. So hopefully this will make it better. And I'll say, in the beginning, I'll say using the attached image for reference, generate instead of create. We'll see if it follows the instructions or not. Sometimes it'll just keep doing whatever, you know, it won't actually. Now it's doing a video. See, something is really goofy. Something has changed. I didn't ask for a video, but we'll see what this turns out to be like. So it does have video capability, but I'm afraid that my precious little instruction set is basically broken. So whatever gem I used, which is basically like your project, has broke now. I think it has a lot to do with the new version of Gemini. So it has more capability. So I might have to rebuild all of the prompting and such to fix that, because now it's not even following any of the commands or any of the instructions. It can do the first couple and then it just starts acting weird. So it's been like this probably for like a week. So that's kind of cool. It made like a video of it, which is useful, but that's not what I asked for. I asked for a scene, an image, and I said using mode 4. And mode 4 is supposed to be an image, not a video, but that's pretty cool. I mean, that's one of the other capabilities it has. So anyhow, hopefully that helps a little bit. I wanted to show you how I did that. So if you go to gems, and I'm going to click on your gems, so you can create gems within the Gemini interface. And this one is called the Fantasy Art Image Generator. So I'll go to gems, go to your gems, and then I can go in and edit it and change the parameters and what it says. But anyhow, that's all I got for